Every single day, I get questions from people here inside the community asking, what about Social Security? When are we going to see an increase to Social Security benefits? Or when are we going to get an update as to what is going to happen with Social Security if, and God forbid, but if this does happen, if the U.S. defaults on its debt and we cannot raise or suspend the debt ceiling? What's going to happen at that point? Well, we now have another update on Social Security for Social Security beneficiaries. And this is a warning coming from the U.S. Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen. Now, I just want to preface this warning with this one statement. The Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen, she doesn't get much out of providing this warning. And I say this because we already know the Treasury has resorted to extraordinary measures to continue funding the U.S. government. We already know when the debt ceiling breach will occur, or roughly when it's going to occur. And so because of her giving this warning and telling Congress we need to pass this as soon as possible and we cannot wait till the last minute, this isn't anything new, but what she is saying is very important. Here's her warning today. She says, and I quote, "The solution is simple. Congress must vote to raise or suspend the debt limit. It should do so without conditions, and it should not wait until the last minute." Then she went on to add this: "It is unlikely that the federal government would be able to issue payments to millions of Americans, including our military families and seniors who rely on Social Security. In the longer term, a default would raise the cost of borrowing into perpetuity. Future investments, including public investments, would become substantially more costly." Again, these are statements that she's made in the past. But what is what's very interesting about what everyone's doing right now, everyone's trying to figure out where they stand, pick a side, figure out what the negotiations are going to look like, and then they're going to make a decision at that point. Here's the problem, though. For the longest time, we've been told that if the U.S., okay, and again, I just want to be very clear on this. The debt ceiling is a little bit different, okay, than the U.S. government not getting its government spending bill, its fiscal year spending bill approved, okay, and we've had this happen before where the fiscal year spending bill doesn't get passed on time and the government experiences a shutdown, okay? And Social Security recipients continue to get their benefits. Yes, there could be a delay by just a little bit, but it's not much. It's minimal. But that's different than if the U.S. defaults on its debt of $31 trillion, okay? And I've said this before. The U.S. government is going to lose a lot of credibility. We know this. This is exactly what lawmakers, experts, economists, President Biden, this is what everyone has said. Okay? The U.S. would lose a lot of its credibility, especially if they are not paying other countries who invested with us. So, according to a few experts, they are saying that the U.S. Treasury could prioritize other countries over citizens here in the U.S. And according to these experts, they say this would be better for the well-being of our world economy because the default would be crippling to the U.S., but causing a worldwide economic collapse would be 10 times worse. And so that right there is something that we cannot allow to happen. Now, where do Republicans stand? Well, according to Speaker Kevin McCarthy, he said, and I quote, "Defaulting on our debt is not an option. But neither is a future of higher taxes, higher interest rates, and an economy that doesn't work for working Americans." That's what he says. Now, this is why lawmakers are struggling to come up with an agreement, because Republicans want to reduce the amount of spending that the U.S. government does. The Democrats, they want to increase spending, but for future improvements. And it all starts with the debt ceiling either being increased or suspended for most likely another 6 months, probably till the end of September. That's when the fiscal year ends. Now, here's one thing I can tell you. There are multiple lawmakers that are still pushing for that $2,400 per year increase. But again, we're not going to see this. There's a very good chance this will never become a bill. It's a proposal, but it will never, most likely will never become a bill because it will never get passed by Republicans until spending comes down. And according to reports, that is likely not going to happen. Democrats do not want to reduce spending, but they will negotiate. All right? Now, let's get this thing out of the way. Because I've seen multiple reports, I've seen a lot of comments saying that President Biden will simply just mint a $1 trillion coin. Now he can, okay? In the event that we get all the way to the debt ceiling deadline and there's still no agreement, President Biden can use a loophole to have the Treasury mint a $1 trillion platinum coin in which he can then deposit into the Federal Reserve. Okay? He can do that. That is his right. He's able to do it. However, what the Treasury and the Federal Reserve decide to do, that's not up to President Biden. According to Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, she said today, and I quote, "It truly is not by any means to be taken as a given that the Fed would do it. And I think especially with something that's a gimmick. The Fed is not required to accept it. There's no requirement on the part of the Fed. It's up to them what to do." So she is pretty much saying President Biden has the ability to mint, or ask the Treasury to mint a $1 trillion platinum coin. But as far as does the Federal Reserve have to accept this coin? No, they don't. And some say the Federal Reserve would not accept a $1 trillion coin because, again, it's a gimmick. It's just a trick. And we know that. So currently, that's what's going on with Social Security. There's a little more talks about what could potentially happen. But the worry that everybody has right now is if we don't talk about cuts, and again, according to all Republicans, the majority, they're all saying the same thing. No cuts. No cuts to Social Security, no cuts to Medicare, but they do want to see reduced spending. Where we actually receive that reduced spending, honestly, I don't know. But these new updates are coming out almost on a daily basis. So I promise I will keep you updated on what's going on regarding Social Security. But as of right now, the U.S. is warning that Social Security recipients could miss their payments. They might not get their payments if we do not raise or suspend the debt ceiling. And for military families, you too would receive no benefits. That is a big, big problem. So as soon as I get more information as to what is going on, regarding Social Security, what the discussions are, what a possible negotiation is going to look like, I promise I will bring you those updates as soon as we get them. Just want to wish you guys, thank you guys for watching today's video. Also wish you a happy Valentine's Day. It is Valentine's Day today. So again, hopefully you guys are having a great Valentine's Day. But again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.